Good afternoon to you. Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com, here with your Hurricane Outlook and discussion for October 3rd, 2019. Let's start the tour off today with a look at where Lorenzo is. This is the vorticity signature, and you can clearly see, hopefully, there it is right up there just off the coast of Ireland, and still a very solid storm system. It doesn't matter, as I have mentioned, what the classification is scientifically. That is a lot of energy in the atmosphere right there, and that's going to be moving in across Ireland, down through the UK today, and then over northwest Europe in subsequent days, bringing a little bit warmer weather with it. Still some tropical energy in there. It's got the soul of a tropical cyclone because, hey, it originated from Africa, came out and went across this way, and now it's going to go that way. So it'll be stormy, windy, storm surge along the coast, power outages, that kind of thing, but nothing that's going to be unprecedented. That's for sure. So don't take it out of context. A disruptive, high-impact system for some. Others won't notice much at all. That's how these things go. It just depends on where you are as to what your local conditions are. And if we look at the radar, this is a nice long GIF animation from Brian McNulty. He has compiled this from his website, where he takes the radar images and stitches them together into these long animations. And as you can see here, time ticking by. I'm assuming that this is all Zulu time, so that's 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 15 UTC, or Zulu time, would be the latest image. And as you can see, there's a few of these bands that have been moving through Ireland and some of them over here to the UK, and nothing significantly heavy, maybe right there towards the end there. Tonight, tomorrow is when the worst of it will be, and this will slide in and then down to the south and east in towards the United Kingdom. So if you are in, Dublin, that's over on the west coast or the east coast over here, and then you've got Manchester's buried in over here somewhere, and then London's like way over here off the map there, or off the extent. You still have a ways to go. Tonight, tomorrow, going to be a blustery day, it looks like, in London. But again, that's what it looks like on the vorticity signature. Still an impressive storm system for that far north. It's way, way on up there. And as, it became more extratropical in nature, the wind and the energy is spread out over a much larger area. So there you go. That's what we're dealing with in terms of headline-making events right now. Looking across the Atlantic Basin as a whole, nothing percolating at the moment. No named storms for the first time in quite a while. Area of disturbed weather tangled up over here in the Caribbean. Just a mishmash of weather north of the islands over here. That tropical wave that we were looking at yesterday, energy there, that's moved on through the windwards with a little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity, but nothing concentrated. Remember that strong tropical wave I showed that was coming off Africa? That seems to have fizzled out a little bit. So really no threats right now of development, and we're getting later and later in the season, and the chances begin to go down gradually with each day. You can still see the outline of this huge ridge of high pressure, record high temperatures all over the area here. 96 degrees in Wilmington right now, 100 up in Raleigh-Durham area. Wow, just very strong deep layer ridging, but no tropical cyclones in the Atlantic Basin at the time, or in the eastern Pacific. Kind of unusual. In fact, if we look at the global picture here, might as well pull this up. The only area of interest anywhere around the globe is in the eastern Pacific here, Invest Area 95E. And if we look at the National Hurricane Center homepage, it doesn't really have that much of a chance of development. A couple areas out there, 10%, 40%, no big deal. I'm not worried about these at all, and we see that there's no development right now expected anywhere down here. But that'll probably change as we do develop this more favorable setup across either the southwestern Caribbean Sea or the extreme southeastern Pacific over the next several days. You can see that here on the GFS. This is the 12Z run. Here's the east coast of North America, Florida, so forth and so on. Here's Central America, west coast of Africa. Big high pressure area here. There's Lorenzo up there off the coast of Ireland. This is initialized from this morning, so this is valid at 8 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. So if we scroll through and take a look over the next several days, you look down on the tropics, you can go back and forth, rock this. This is great. One of the wonderful tools Levi has set up at tropicaltidbits.com. You can go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, whatever. And you're looking for these little balls of energy, right? Here's one. Some tries to go here, some up here in the subtropics. But nothing menacing. There's nothing that really jumps out at you. Certainly not like yesterday's 12Z run of the GFS. Remember that? Sure you do. It developed something down here, had a little tangle with the Yucatan, and then it went up across Tampa, etc. Created a little bit of stir on social media, I bet. People kind of talking about it. But I didn't see anybody going crazy with it. Oh, Tampa hurricane coming in 12, 14 days. That was good. I'm sure somebody said that, but I didn't see it prevalent. It wasn't obvious that people were talking about that, because I think people know better. That you look at this as guidance and you can say, yeah, really not much out there to hang your hat on over the next few days to 10 days or so. These little impulses, that work their way across the Atlantic, some into the eastern Pacific. Yes, we will watch them. And yes, this area is favored this time of year, as is the southeast Pacific. But right now, there's nothing that all of the models are latching on to and trying to develop. So we'll watch and we'll wait. Maybe we'll get by the month of October with no major calamities, which would be a break from what we saw going all the way back to 2015 when we had Joaquin. You remember that. Pretty big close call for the mid-Atlantic states, but then it was a big deal for Bermuda, and we had all that moisture that pinwheeled around that upper level low over the southeast, and it rained to beat the band in the southern parts of the southeast part of the country. 2016, of course, we had Matthew. 2017, a fairly significant hurricane with Nate up here into Mississippi. And then last year, of course, Category 5 Michael into the panhandle of Florida. So maybe we do break the streak this year. We will have to see. And a little bit of inclination towards that might be the case is this tweet from Ben Knoll. I don't show you just the tweets where it shows development. No, we got to be fair and balanced. And Ben's talking about that, no new MJO passages coming up. So just maybe, and we got this suppressed convective state coming, that the risk of tropical cyclones would be going down throughout the rest of the month. We'll have to see. It's not zero. Ben's not coming out and saying, yay, check mark, we're all good. It's just naturally we would see that the green fades out. Green is upward motion, and we're focusing on over here right now. And it gradually turns into that sort of reddish rust color, which is a more sinking pattern or suppressed convection. Convection is another word for thunderstorm activity. But even in the phase that we're in now, we'll wait for it to recycle here, then we'll stop the animation and look at it frame by frame. So this is where we are now. And the green is typically favorable, but there's just nothing out there. And this is what I'm talking about, or do talk about from time to time. You don't always have to have development just because certain parameters are there. And sometimes you get development when the parameters are negative. It's weird how the tropics work, isn't it? So this is where we are now. This is how it evolves going through time, and it just gets less and less favorable as we move through the rest of October towards the early part of November. So that'll be interesting to watch. Get rid of this tab. Going back in time. Okay, this is last year. Let's make sure this is very, very clear. Okay, this is, I'm going to highlight it for you so nobody mistakes this. This is the archive. All right, we're going back to the NHC's archive because a year ago, and this is important, I'm going to talk about this more and more, when we get these big benchmark events like Michael, I'm going to revisit them. And this was a pivotal event on a lot of scales. The Saffir-Simpson scale, for one, is a Cat 5. For my work, my team's work, etc., for the people all down here in the panhandle of Florida, up into southeast Alabama, southwest Georgia, even the outer banks of North Carolina, Michael left storm surge out there, and it was a big, big deal, and we're coming up on the anniversary of that. And so looking at the tropical weather outlook from a year ago, this is what it was suggesting. And you remember this. I do. I was in Arizona. The remnants of Hurricane Rosa were dumping heavy rain in Arizona, and I was out there getting ready to come back. And it was a mad scramble because a week later, just 7 days later, history was made on October 10th when Michael made landfall as a Cat 5. Brent came up to help me from St. John. We left on the 7th, I believe it was, and the rest, as they say, is history. So, coming up on the 10th of this year, this month, the 1-year anniversary, I am going to go back to Mexico Beach. I will be down there. I'm going to be working with some folks there, some incredible people. I'll make an official announcement once everything is locked in. And I am going to show the Michael chapter, if you will, of last year's documentary, the 2018 documentary. The one that's on Amazon Prime right now, Tracking the Hurricanes 2018, right? I'm going to have like a little intro. We don't have time to show the whole thing. I mean, that'd be great. We did that already at the movie theater in Tallahassee back in June, and we showed it up here in Wilmington at the end of May this year. But something special for Mexico Beach. There's a connection that I have with the people down there. I'm going to be able to meet more people, and it's important to reflect on how far things have come. We know that there's a long way to go as well. Everything's not roses, believe me. People are still struggling, and we cannot ignore hurricane history. And we try to learn from it and then better ourselves afterwards. It's hard. It's very hard. And I recognize that. I know that more than most people because, hey, this is what I've made a career out of. So next week I'm going to head back down there. Looking forward to seeing some folks, Pat and the other owners of Toucans. I'm going to meet with them. And, hey, I hope Pat doesn't get mad at me. Get well, buddy. Pat just had some surgery. I won't go into any more details than that. We're pulling for you, bud. Get well. I'll see you hopefully on the 9th. But I am going to be in Mexico Beach next week. I'll talk more about it in the days to come. We will revisit this. I'll talk about what we learned, what we're still learning, and kind of mix it into the daily discussion. We don't want to dwell on it and dig up the past and get people's feelings hurt again because it's very difficult. It is. But it is something that needs to be remembered in context. And where do we go from here? How are people doing? I don't want it to fade away into they call that the forgotten coast. And I don't want it to be the forgotten coast for a different reason. All right? And also, as we go forward, and we'll be thinking about this too, and I'll talk about this in my upcoming original series for next January, the Hurricane Highway, Ocracoke and the Outer Banks kind of left out of the spotlight from Dorian. And rightfully a lot of focus down here in the Bahamas. My point is these hurricanes leave a legacy for generations. They're still dealing with the aftermath of Katrina, for goodness sakes, Charlie, and others. People that are still alive that remember Hazel, Camille, Andrew, you name it. They are a part of American history. They're a part of our meteorological past. And they shape the geography of the landscape. And that's what I study. So it's coming up. Hard to believe. Already been almost a year. A year ago, we were looking at the seedling that would go on to produce Category 5 Michael. All right. On that note, I'll let you go. That's it from me for today. Fairly short because there's just not that much happening, which is great. And like I said, maybe, just maybe, we will break the streak of a busy October and nothing will happen this year. We'll see. I would tend to think that's not going to happen, but who knows? That's what we're here for, is to look ahead and see what happens. Have a great rest of your Thursday. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. It means more to me than you will ever know. It really does. It's awesome to have you on the other side of your screen, whatever you're watching and listening to me from. I appreciate you being there. I am Mark Sudduth, HurricaneTrack.com. I'll be back with more for you tomorrow.